Hello, everybody. 1 second. Hello. I always do that. I'll leave the volume on. Hello, everybody. Welcome to another powerful edition of the Lights 360 broadcasts. Excited to come to you again with another powerful story today. We're going to really have fun today. So you guys just wait and see. One more time, this is Pastor Lan coming to you from Chicagoland, precisely Evanston. The Light 360 broadcast that we have been having for a while right now, season 2 right now, bringing all kinds of people, all kinds of stories, has been put together for the sole purpose of using the stories of some people who are shining as lights in their spheres of influence to inspire other people to shine as lights for Christ in their own spheres of influence. As I usually say at the beginning of this show, the secrets of great people are in their stories. That's why I love biographies. I love to read biographies. I love to watch biographies. I love to hear people talk about, their stories and all that. So there's just a lot that one can learn from the story of someone. There's a lot that you can find, some commonalities that you can find that can help you as you go along in your own journey of purpose. So that's why Light 360 was set up. And it's been a powerful time since we started the first season earlier this year, and now season 2. We've been on season 2 for about 5 or 6 weeks now. It's been powerful, just bringing people to you almost every day of the week. The stories don't end, The stories are not going to end because God is moving. The God show is taking place. It's just continuing in people's lives. So the stories just continue of what God is doing. So we're going to keep bringing people in, and they're going to tell their life stories and what God is doing in their lives and what God has done in their lives, all to the glory of God and also to inspire other people. So I welcome those of you that are joining us right now. I want to ask you, please, to like this video, this broadcast, whichever medium you are using. I know people are you can watch us right now on YouTube. You can watch us right now on 2 pages on Facebook. You can watch us on Periscope. And you can also watch us on Instagram right now. So I will be monitoring, like comments on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Instagram, I'll be monitoring it, but the ones for the other places, we can show it here. So I want to ask you, please, to interact with us. You can ask our guest a question, ask me a question. We'll be able to address it as we're moving on in this conversation. But I want to thank you for coming. Please like the video, share the video also too, to spread the word so that other people can be blessed by this story. So getting that out of the way, how you guys doing? Those of you that are already watching us, please, let's just, if you can answer the question, how are you doing? Where are you watching from? Just, put something in there in the chat and just let me know that, some people are, they are not just watching, they are participating in this, in this conversation. So please answer that question if you can, whichever medium. How are you doing and where are you watching from? How are you doing? Where are you watching from? So I'll be waiting for that to display it. So I have a guest today. You guys are going to be blessed by her life. She's somebody that I have known for a long time. I've known that for almost 20 years now. Somebody who is very dear to my wife and I. She's just a special one. And we met her, then when she was in Chicago. She was a student right here in Chicago, and she became a part of our life. She became a part of our family. We became a part of our family. We actually, she was one of those people that there were I think there were 4 of us that were prayed over on the day that we were prayed for to go and start. Wow, thank you guys for posting. Good to see you guys. Yeah. So the day, when we're being released to go and start the City Light Church, it was myself, my wife, and then my sister-in-law, Deumi, then and Ranti, that we were prayed over to go out and start the City Light Church. And I remember then starting the church, how she just put her full self into it. First day, like people from IIT, some people are still part of the church right now and are part of our network right now, just because of that step that she took that day, and just invited people from our college and all that. And she became the first leader of the City Praise and led it for many years. And over the years, even though right now she's in Nigeria, she has moved to Nigeria. She lives in Lagos, Nigeria. She's joining us from Lagos, Nigeria. She has been a part of, hey, Grandma is watching. She has been a part of both our family and also part of the City Light family. She's still part of the flow, everything that is going on there. Also, she is also one of the coordinators of the Leading Lights network in Nigeria, the Leading Lights training and that we do in Nigeria. She was one of those people that helped us to put that together. Many times that I've traveled to Nigeria on missions and all that, I usually stay with her and Mark, her husband, in their house. And she's a beautiful, beautiful spirit, a wonderful person. She's a woman of God. She's gifted, especially in the area of music and just, bringing people together, just bringing life and energy and light into whatever environment that she finds herself. I'm really proud to call her our spiritual daughter. So excited. I'm always proud of her. And I'm so I'm so grateful to God for how God has brought us all together as a family. I've been working together in partnership for years and years and years. So today I'm so excited, blessed to welcome to the Light 360 broadcast for today, Ranti. Hello, Ranti.
Hi. Thank you so much for having me.
How are you?
Thank you. Amazing.
How is
introduction.
What did you
Lagos
say?
is good. I said Lagos is good. Lagos is good. Everything is fine.
Awesome.
We're definitely ahead of the curve in some areas here in Lagos.
Yeah, so yeah, one of our grandma's,
Can you hear me?
daughters. So, how is Mark? I'm talking about Mark Senior, and then Mark Junior and Marie. So I forgot to introduce to say that Mark is a mother of twins. She's a mother of twins to Mark and Marie. So how is Mark Senior, Mark Junior, and Marie doing?
They're all wonderful. They're doing well. They're safe. We're all doing great. So can't complain at all. Yeah, God has been good to us.
Awesome. All right. So I tried as much as I could. What did you say?
How are the members of my family living in your house doing?
Oh yeah, we are doing fine too. They are watching. So Jesse's manning the Instagram. My wife is watching.
Wow.
They are doing school
I love it.
at the same time and all that. So, but everybody is doing well. Thank God. Thank God. We're all doing well. So, awesome. So, well, the first question I ask everyone is the same thing I'm going to ask you. Who is Ranti? Yeah. Tell us.
And I never know how to answer that question. But I always try my best anyway. Yeah, I think maybe because I'm still discovering more about Ranti every day, which is interesting. But For the most part, Ranti is a young lady whew, that has had a very fun life, interesting life, that believes in living life to the fullest.
Mm,
I was born in Chicago, to a single mom.
mm,
She wasn't living in Chicago at the time. She just had brothers in Chicago, and that was how I came to be born in Chicago. And I was raised in Lagos, and then went back to Chicago because I guess she had already planned my life. Like, once you're done with high school, you're going back to Chicago. That's where you were born. You hear? so from grade school, I knew I was going back to Chicago, and I would tell. I remember I had a sit partner that I said I was going to Chicago when I'm done with high school. He said, "Oh yeah, I think I'm going to go to New York or Chicago too," and he already knew about his own life too, so that was funny.
mhm,
Yeah. Yeah, I grew up, went through, like I said, grade school, high school in Nigeria, and then went to IIT, Illinois Institute of Technology, to study chemical engineering, and took some courses in music. And music has always been a part of me growing up, especially in high school. I was very involved, especially like in the choir and things like that. Um, yeah, and then I moved back to Nigeria many years ago now. Seems like it
mhm,
was just yesterday. Wow. And then sort of transitioned into this engineering/music career, one by day, one by night. And of course, when I was in Chicago, I was a member of the City Light Church. I am one of the founding members. And that was a really exciting point in my life. Um, yeah, for me, that experience was everything. It was just really life changing for me. And then just as I was about, even when I didn't know I was going to be leaving the US to come to Nigeria, because that was my husband wanted us to do that and wanted to just explore those opportunities. Leading Light started, and I was part of the first cohort, is what we call it now.
yeah,
And that apparently was another life transforming part of my life. And it basically just set the stage for a lot of the things that I'm doing now.
mm,
Um, yeah, but I really feel like those things don't really answer the question of who I am, but they at least give some information.
yeah, yeah. We will get to
so
know where you've said a lot
yeah,
already that we're
I
going to unpack. Yeah, we're going to unpack them one by
yeah
one. So,
yeah. So
well, the
I
first thing is that your hometown is Chicago. Is that what you count as your hometown?
yes,
I hope you are praying for
yes,
your
my
hometown.
hometown, my village, everything.
I hope you are praying for your
Not
hometown.
enough, but I do, but not enough. I mean, after this, I mean, just coming on this call has made me realize I'm not praying enough for my hometown. So I need to step up. But yeah,
Your hometown
we do
is
pray.
going through a lot, at this time. So need all the prayers. I just came back from a prayer meeting of pastors and leader, like people that are doing ministries, street ministry, and all that, all around Chicago. I just came back from it right now, and God is moving in Chicago, of course, but the devil is also, trying to, to show some,
Yeah.
muzzles or whatever. But he's been defeated, with the violence and all that. So
Yes.
keep praying for your hometown. Yeah, awesome. So born in Chicago,
Yes.
to a single mother. Let's talk about that. So you were born to
Yes.
a single mom. How was that? What was the
Okay.
impact of such an experience on you?
Yes. For me, actually, it wasn't really I mean, for me, I was born, and then life was going on. There was no real I guess I didn't really know that there was any particular way that I was supposed to be living other than the way I was living. And so, yeah, and I think that in a lot of ways now, when I look back, I think it kind of worked out for my good.
How?
So and especially in Lagos, growing up in Lagos, the Nigerian context, or even maybe the southern Nigerian context, is very can be very traditional, can be very communal, and at least at that stage, now you might not even know your neighbor, but then growing up in Lagos, everything was very communal. So a lot of people were in your business, and it was from there that I started to learn that, oh, there's actually something called like a single mom versus a married mom. Okay,
Yeah.
this family has a father and a mother and several children. And so I would pray every night that I wanted a little brother. I would pray and pray and pray and pray and pray and pray and pray because I thought God just like dropped them from heaven. So I guess as I grew up was when I started to discern that, okay, something is different about growing up here in this scenario. And so I think growing up to with a mom, with just my mom, I started to almost have like feminist tendencies and just believe that women were everything and men were nothing. I mean, in a nutshell. So I think that definitely affected my worldview in that sense. I was
Okay.
And so, yeah, I wasn't very nice to boys. I just they were annoying. And a strong mom. My mom taught history, and she was just a strong woman that just she just exemplified the woman, the strong, and that was a really beautiful thing for me growing up and watching her just live this independent life. Of course, there were certain times that because she was a single mom, things were not as rosy, especially like living on a teacher's salary then in those days was not very easy. And then I think also when you're a single mom and you want to date, and the effects of that on your children is just like can be like a little awkward. So I think those are just the kind of two sides of the spectrum for me,
Thank
I
you.
guess.
Thanks for sharing that. And I know mommy very well. I know your mom very well. She's a strong woman, just like you said. And she has done an exceptional job, especially with a troublesome child like you. People should see what I have gone through with you. But she she did an exceptional job, and I really, really appreciate her. She was there for you. She did everything, made sure that you were, education, everything, and up till now, she still stands there. And I believe she's proud of you. She's proud of the work she has done, and God will reward her. She's even transferring that to her children now. Also raising them. So I'm really proud of single moms. That they never quit. They just continue and do that. It's a tough job.
Yeah.
The job that was supposed to be done by two, one person is doing it, and they still did it well. Yeah. So kudos to mommy. Kudos to mommy. So I have a question before we move on. I have a question to you on that. So they usually say something that people who grew up without, their dads present, that they go through what is called a father complex or a daddy complex, where you just feel like an emptiness, like, oh, where's my dad and all that, and that that could create some emptiness in you. And later, when you want to get into a relationship with men and all that, you might see them as your dad or see them as absent. Did you go through anything like that? because somebody might be watching that, that is going through similar or went through similar experiences. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think, yeah, I was a little bit, I was lucky, I would say, to be sheltered a little bit more than, because I grew up in like a school community, so it was all like, education. It was quite a serious environment that maybe the average person would go through. So I think that also helped me a lot. Um, but and like I said, it was a community, so that helped to fill in some gaps here and there. But I think I started to discover, maybe as I became a teenager, that yeah, maybe I would have a neighbor that I would just want to spend more time with, who's an older guy. Nothing, no idea why, but I just wanted to hear their stories, because I didn't have any context of what it was like to be a man.
Yeah.
So I would like to hear all their stories. Maybe those, like, there was one particular person that was in college. I was very interested in like his stories of conquest, and things like that. So I was very curious about that. I call them species, I guess. And what ended up happening was, from those so-called stories and gisting and trying to learn more about of course it would become kind of awkward, and then he might not understand that I am just this curious teenager. He might misinterpret or whatever. But what saved me was, when I was in high school. So my mom taught in my high school. And so there was a school church, and I remember there was a math teacher, a young woman. I can't remember her name. I need to try to trace her, actually. But she said to us after one church service, she said, if you grew up without a dad, see me after the service. And so we all kind of huddled together. And what she said to us was, you're going to look at boys. If you're not already doing that, you're going to try to find your father in little boys, that are age or older. And when they notice that, they will try to take advantage of you. So, just kind of be aware of that, and fight that, and try to not give them that place because of. So I think that I don't know if any other girl that was there that day, if that thing resonated with them the way it resonated with me. But man, I ate that thing up, and I held it. And I think that really helped me. So that by the time that I was now thrown out there, when I left my mom's nest, and I found myself in uni, in IIT, in college, I then started to see that, oh yeah, Ranti, you are kind of turning this male figure into a father figure, and it's not working out. So you need to, back off, define what's going on here, and all that. And then even later on in life, as I grew older, I think I never felt like someone that sought attention, or like, wanted the attention of a male figure. But apparently I did. Subconsciously, I did. And so what I would find out was, I just wanted to spend time with, so there were different phases, right? So the later phase was this phase of just wanting to spend time with male figures around me, and somebody did point it out and said, oh, do you think that it's like a daddy thing?
Maybe I was the one that pointed that out. I think we had a conversation on that one.
Yeah. So you, Pastor Debo, obviously, Pastor Debo was a huge part of like pointing that out, and then one of my friends also pointed that out and said, because it was like a recurring thing. So then she says, are you sure there's not something that you're doing or thinking or in your subconscious that's kind of like having these things happen over and over and over again? And I was like, man, you know what? That might be true. So let's check that and let's just really rely on the Lord to be our daddy. So yeah, I mean that definitely happened. But I see that even while that was happening, I feel like God was always providing the escape, and God was always providing the wisdom, the word, somebody to say just the right thing I needed to hear, like the random, if you were not, if you didn't grow up with a dad, come and see me after service. That's as random as it gets. Like, why did she think? Like, why did the Lord tell her that on that particular day when I was in that service? It's not a service I always went to. So man, I just say thank you, Jesus. I can't even take any credit. I can't give,
it's God.
Just
it's
the
God.
Lord.
But what will you say to somebody who is going through that right now? The person is going through that thing of, oh, I miss my dad. Sometimes not expressed, but it's expressed in actions and all that. What will you say to them based on how God has helped you?
Yeah. So I would say that it's a healthy desire to have a father. I think I don't fault you for wanting that. So what I would just say is after hearing my story, just check it and just always like check your motives, always check that you're not giving undue what's the word, will I say undue honor or undue
Attention.
will I say reverence or whatever attention to that need. Just keep it balanced. So the way to keep it balanced, I would say, is yes, do seek out father figures, but it's almost like interviewing people. You have to actually make sure that they are father figures, not something else. So and they're not predators, So definitely. I mean, I did seek out father figures, and like I said, I was blessed in my journey that, when the father figure was not a father figure, the Lord was quick to reveal it, and reveal their hearts. And then when it was, this person is a father figure, it was like, okay, great, and these tests have taken place and they've passed these tests, so to speak. And then even after they've passed these tests and they're like a father figure and they're all like, my daughter, whatever, there's still boundaries. You don't just go like, oh yeah, even with biological fathers, believe it or not, still boundaries. Biological fathers, I mean, look at the story of Joyce Meyer and so many other people. Biological fathers can be predators. So talk less of a non-biological father. So there's got to be boundaries, no inappropriateness, no weird hours, things just clean. Go out to lunch if you need to. Go for coffee. Talk, share. Enough, So and that just respect, let them the boundaries there, and then of course identify the relationships that are not fatherly and run. I mean, don't you might need to just send an email, I don't know, but just run. Like, don't try to analyze, don't try to decipher like me, don't try to be like, but at this time they were pick up your shoes and run. That's what I would say.
Very good. Thanks for sharing that. I mean, that's very helpful. Sure, somebody is getting blessed through that. So let's move on in your story. So you come to Chicago. What age did you come to Chicago? Come back to Chicago?
I was 15.
15.
I thought I was charging my...
Okay, your computer is making some noise. So we'll allow you to fix that. Go ahead and fix that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, go ahead and fix it. So while Ranti is fixing our computer to get so that it's charged and it doesn't just go off. Can you guys let me know, those of you that are watching us, what are you already getting from our story? We just started our story, born in Chicago to a single mom, and then we talked about just her growing up and how she processed that and how that has affected her, both the positive and some of the negative, and how God's grace has kept her. So please, I would like your comments, just to to know what is coming to your mind right now while Ranti gets ready, and we'll continue our discussion. What's coming to you? What are you getting? For me, I was just thinking of, that there are several people that are in that category, not just male, but also, and not just female, but also male too. Barack Obama wrote a book then called Dreams of My Father. It was basically a book, predicated on that need of, oh, where's my dad and all that, and a lot of things that he was doing just to be able to, to just either see his father or get the affirmation of his father. And so that has to be directed in the right way. So that's similar to what Ranti was talking about. So if you are watching right now and you are either maybe your dad passed away, or you just grew up in a situation where you're not with your dad, or you don't live with your dad, that's an encouragement to you. That's it's not a disability. It's just that's where you were born, and God has a purpose for it. Your story is part of how God works out his purpose for your life. It's part of it all. So you just thank God and appreciate God. So, looking for you guys' comments. Once he's ready, so I'm going to bring her back on so that we can continue our discussion. Welcome back, Ranti. So, all right. So
all right.
Yeah, cool. So you moved to Chicago. Well, before we even talk about the Chicago part, you were so growing up in high school and all that, you started singing, right? You started doing something singing. Was your mom a music teacher or just history teacher?
Yeah.
She was a music teacher too? Sorry,
no, she was just a history teacher. But I had, like I said, I grew up around a lot of
All right, so it looks like you are stuck. your video is stuck and your sound is stuck. So I'll let you get it fixed. I'll bring you back on. Okay. So guys, we're doing this. Streaming is transatlantic. So we're trying to to resolve that technical issue, and Ranti will be back to continue with us. So so I was saying that so far, what we have been able to discuss, she talked about seeking godly fathers and having and setting boundaries, even if you have those father figures in your life. So that's one of the, that's the the central thing that we've talked about so far. We're about to move on further in our story. So let me get more feedback from those of you watching Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Put something in there. Let me know what you have gotten so far. I know some people are just joining. We're interviewing Ranti from Nigeria, and she's telling her story on Light 360. So she just got cut off from the stream, but she's going to be back shortly to continue that. So that theme, several people that are brought up on Light 360, they've spoken about that theme, about the importance of like both parent figure being involved in the lives of the children. Just like we're talking about fathers, that sometimes if the father is absent, it can have some effect on the child. The same way, if the mother is absent too, it can have some effect on the child too. It might differ. So, for example, children that are brought up with very caring mothers, they are usually very affectionate and all that. But if that is absent, that might affect affection, because mothers provide affection, security, affection for the kid and all that. Fathers provide identity, they're just like a symbol of strength. Like, children usually look up to their fathers and they see the father as this, hero or this superhero that they look up to and everything. The father has no faults. Of course, when they grow up, they begin to see some things, but that's just a place that the father occupies. And those two, genders are very essential in the raising up of a child. But sometimes, you have situations where both are not present. That's where the power of God, the presence of God, and the love of God, comes into play. God is both a father and is a mother. Of course, see all through the Bible calls him, our heavenly father. And then you see that in many places, the Bible also uses the picture of a mother. For example, the Bible, is one of his name is El Shaddai. El Shaddai. El Shaddai, really in the Hebrew, means the one that has multiple breasts, who feeds all of creation. So I will see, like a woman, a woman can forget her suckling child, but I, the Lord, will not forget you. So there's also many symbolism in the Bible where God is depicted, as a mother, as a motherly figure too. So God provides both. God provides both, and God also has a way, in his, in his greatness, in his power, of even providing, father figures, mother figures, for somebody who lacks such to, and even orphans. The Bible says God, God, takes up the cause of the orphans, the fatherless, and all that. So God is our father, God is our mother. So I think Ranti is back right now. So we're going to try and bring her back up and see whether our internet issues are fixed. So Ranti, let's see. Your picture is actually
Okay.
even clearer now.
Yeah. So I
Okay.
summarize. I've been overworking my computer all day, so it's having a temperature. It's giving me a temperature notification.
Okay, I see.
That's part of living in the tropics.
Yes. So can we continue now? So you said your mom was a music teacher,
History teacher.
history teacher. Okay. So how did you get into music? I know you started getting into music a little bit when you were in Nigeria then.
Yeah, so I had a neighbor. Like I said, I was surrounded by teachers. So I had a neighbor who was a teacher, Mr. Hicks. And so he started me on recorder playing and theory of music from as little as maybe 5 or 6 years old, just informally. And then when I got into high school, he was the choir teacher. And so automatically I went to choir. And then I started doing all these music exams, singing lessons, singing exams, competitions, things like that.
Okay. So why did you, when you came to IIT in Chicago here, why did you choose chemical engineering when you
Yeah.
already knew that, you were singing? Well, just tell me how that process went. Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess I was singing, but I didn't think of singing as a career. Like I didn't think that people sang as, oh, I'm gonna become a singer. I just it
You
just
didn't know
didn't occur.
Ebenezer Obey or King Sonny Ade then.
Yeah, but they were
Just
not
pulling your
around
leg.
me. They were in another world. They were
Chris
on
Yeffe,
TV.
Igbokwe, Onyeka
Yeah,
Owenu.
where they were all kind of far away, and I guess it just, I don't know. I thought I was going to be an accountant because then you have to choose your courses
Okay.
when
I'm
you
so glad you're not
move
an
to a
accountant.
certain class. Pastor Lan, I gave you
That
time
person
before we
that you're
started to
accounting
throw
for will be
shade.
losing a lot of money, man. I'm glad. I'm glad you didn't choose that.
Ah, and I was very
Go.
good. In my accounting classes, I was really good.
Okay. All right. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
everything always balanced out. Man, don't mess with me. You want me to post? Pastor Lan
I'm
wants me
sure
to
Mark will
post.
agree with me. I'm so glad Roti is not. She didn't choose accounting.
You should
Go
actually
ahead.
wish I chose accounting, actually.
Okay.
But the reason was just because choosing accounting as a high school student made me able to do the subjects that I loved, such as music, French, literature, and things like
Mhm.
that. There was no real logic. I
Mhm.
just wanted to do subjects that I loved, and I didn't
Mhm.
know what other careers were available. So
Okay.
yeah, that so then I started doing I wanted to do the accounting thing, and then my math teachers convinced me that I needed to be in the sciences track, and
Mhm.
basically yeah, because like there's this exam you do, and then the scores that you get in the subjects show you like where you should head. But I got A's in all the subjects, so there was really no like, you couldn't diagnose anything from the scores. Um,
Mhm.
so I was confused. So
Okay.
just starting from the math teachers saying blah blah blah, and then as time went on, it was time to decide what I'm really going to do at the end of the day. And I started doing
Mhm.
this like elimination process. Okay, I don't like blood, no medicine. Okay, I can't, I'm not cut out for blah blah blah. To be honest, there was no real divine like revelation about being a chemical engineer. Oh yeah, I know what happened. One day I was watching TV, then in Nigeria, and it was oil is a big deal in Nigeria. That's what the economy is built on. I don't know if that's a good thing, but it is what it
Mhm.
is. And so there was this thing about, oh, the big oil companies are polluting our rivers and blah blah blah. And I was like, ooh, maybe I should
Mhm.
do environmental or like petroleum or kind of, that was it. No real,
Okay.
no
So
real
that's how you
relation.
chose
Yeah.
chemical engineering. Now we'll get to the career thing. How was your journey with God? So we've not even talked about that. How did you come to meet Christ? Young, when, how, what was that process like?
Yeah. So, again, one of the teachers in my community. So I think my community was just like, the more I talk about my community, the more I'm just like, wow, yeah, I was really
Hmm.
blessed in this community
Yeah. God
of
bless you with
teachers.
influences, good influences.
Yes. No, I am a product of good influences. I cannot lie.
Hmm.
Um, so one of the teachers, in fact, two of them or more even, had these Bible study groups where you got to they for children in the neighborhood.
Hmm.
And basically what they did was you just go through Bible stories. I remember then we would even like watch documentaries about Ben Carson, blah blah blah,
Hmm.
um, gifted hands, things like that. So that was for me, that was like a foundation. And I did that since from the time I was maybe 5 or 6 and until I was a teenager, basically.
Hmm.
Um, so that started me off. And I remember there was a time that I was at an age where I was just like, okay, I think it's time to do something fun and experiment, or just break some rules. Why can't you just keep rules for like 13 years of your life? Like that's boring. Let's do something
Hmm.
cool. So I had this rule that I never read what's it called? These are romance
Mills
novels.
and Bones
Yeah.
and Alec Cohen
The
and all
one
that.
the one that I used to read was called Silhouette.
Silhouette, yes. Hmm. Yeah.
And okay, so I wasn't reading them, and my classmates were reading them, and for many years I'd be like, oh, don't read them. And then one day I was just like, life is not that hard. Let's just read one. And then I read one, and then I read another, and then I got to come to the U.S. when I was preparing for like university and trying to figure out. It was basically like one of the parents of the students in my mom was teaching was like, oh yeah, I'd like to help out. What? Blah, blah, blah. She needs to go to the US. Blah, blah, blah. Long story.
Hmm.
So when I got to the US, I put something in the mail. Okay, and apparently they sent me all these free books. I mean, like a lot of them. And
Hmm.
apparently my aunt thought it was a great idea to send them to me in Lagos.
Hmm.
so, so
That's how
at
you
that
got
point,
hooked.
I just got hooked. It was
Mhm.
crack, cocaine, and I love to read.
I
That
never
was the
understood.
big
I tried reading one. I read a lot, right? So
yeah.
I saw my sister and some people reading it. So I tried reading one. When I read it, I was like, I never understood what ladies enjoyed in all these kind of books. You know, it was,
I was like
it's,
you, but I got converted. Yeah, because I read a lot. I mean, I was one of those kids that would read into the night. I just loved to read. But yeah. Anyway, that didn't go so well. So at that point, I'm at a salon getting my hair done, and somebody comes up to me. Two ladies come up to me, and they're on an evangelism walk or something. And then one of them comes to me and is all like, "Why are you reading that book?" Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, "Because I want to, for fun." Anyway, she goes away, and then the other girl comes, and she was just so nice, and I just kind of hit it off with her, and we started a conversation. And basically, after that conversation, she basically asked me, "Was I born again?" I said, "I think so," but I wasn't sure. I couldn't be like, "Yeah, of course I am." So after that, I remember, I think I was like on page 23 or something. And after that, I didn't read any of them again, like till now, basically.
Wow.
And so that was, and then she now came to my house. She was one that gave me my first Word of Faith books, set of books, by Kenneth Hagin. I think there was a book by David Oyedepo. I'm not so sure. And then and she gave me all these Christian tapes then, and then we would play them every day apparently. And then she would come to the house, pray with us. Yeah, so man, I'm just blessed. Even strangers be trying
Thank
to
God
help
for
me.
that lady. Thank God for that lady. I mean, I pray that those who are watching, we will learn that the little steps that we take can go a long way. Yesterday I was interviewing Miriam, and she was just talking about how she got born again too. She was a teacher, that shared something. Some people that came to do some drama and all that. And then we talked about missionary, because she's, Ausa, some missionaries that came earlier, Equa and all that, Catholic missionary and all that, converted our forefathers or whatever, some part, in our lineage, and look at the impact now. So the little things that we do, to all these kids, and, the things that we share, we don't know how far those things are going to go. Thank God for that lady that came to you, gave you all those things, and began that journey of faith in your life. So that's the faithfulness of God. Awesome. So you gave your heart to Jesus then and everything. So you are now in Chicago. Let's get. So you are in Chicago, IT and all that. I don't even know when we met. I think you were, I don't know whether you were 16 or so, or I don't, but I think you were, I think you were about 16, 2003. 2003. Yeah. Well, I don't want people to start dating your age. Sorry. So people will start calculating it now. 2003. So, but I remember then, we met. You used to come to the Impact Fellowship. How did we meet? We met through Mark, right? Or how? I'm just trying to imagine. Or did I meet Mark through you, or I met you through Mark?
No, I'm sure you met me through Mark, because Mark met you through his school buddy.
Yes.
And then started going to the Impact Fellowship, and then one day he's like, "Oh, you want to come along?" Because I was already going to this fellowship with him.
You remember the first time that you guys came to? I was still pastoring at Kingswood then. I think I invited Mark for a seminar and all that. You guys came together. It was a relationship seminar, and then I was teaching. I was doing an example. Then I called both of you up. You guys were not even in relationship then, nothing. So I called both of you up, and I used both of you as example, as couples, and this and that. Mark,
I have a faint, yeah.
Yeah, that was the first time. I was just flowing in the spirit. I just brought, this and that. Mark told me later. I didn't know you guys from anywhere, and you guys were not even. You were going to be in relationship maybe some years, after then or so. Yeah, but now you are married, and for years. So the Holy Spirit must have been moving then.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we met there, and then also you come to Impact. Then you were so small. This little, 16-year-old girl, in college and all that, and then you came with Mark. You come to, and then you became very close to my wife and I. You come over to our place and everything, and we're just.
I remember.
Yeah, I remember those times, and then came around that time I remember one time you were staying with us, right? You were in our place, and then I I just, my wife, we were just talking, and I said, Ranti, I want to tell you something, that we're going to be starting a church, called City Light. I remember your response. I'll never forget. You just said, is that true? Okay. And you said nothing again. I was like, I told my wife, I was like, look at, she just said, oh, okay, all right. And then she just continued doing what she was doing.
I was a teenager. What do you expect?
And she didn't even show any emotion or nothing. I was like, I don't know whether, But then later, when we started planning for church, saw you at the meeting, inviting people, we're doing stuff. I'm like, look at that girl that she just said, oh, okay, all right. But well, I guess action speaks louder than words,
Yeah.
Then I remember those are fun days, I want to announce to the whole world right now, and it's a disclaimer. And the fact is that I taught her how to drive, but she didn't take after. I'm a very gentle driver. When I drive, I drive very gently. No, but I've never got to eat another car or do whatever since I've been driving. But this lady, I taught her how to drive, but she has not taken after that. She's a very, Lagos. Even before she came to Lagos, she was the original Lagos driver in Chicago.
Do you remember the time you came with your whole family, and I hit that thing at the toll gate?
Yes.
It was supposed to open, but it didn't open. And that was no time.
She bust out the Lekki tollway. But I'm like, Ranti, you have not repented from this you're driving. I didn't teach you this one, though. I hope you're a better driver now.
Well,
I also remember just something's coming to mind. The day you went to do your first driving test. So I took you to do your driving test, and then so I was waiting. It was you and Ade. You and Ade, my sister-in-law. So I was waiting. I've been teaching both of you. So I was waiting. They're going to pass this thing, and then I just saw two ladies come from the thing. Their face so morose. They got into the car. What happened? They said they didn't, and then both of you just burst into tears. Till we got home, you guys were crying inside the car. I'm like, God, what has happened today? Wow, those were some funny days, But,
I need to put on my do not disturb. Sorry, since I switched to my phone.
Okay, yeah. So let's move on. So all that on, and then so City Light started. Why did you join City Light? Like, why did you? You put all yourself and everything to the family. I don't think I ever asked you that question. What was it that led you into all that? Those beginning days, years, and
Yeah, so that's it's quite deep. I guess how do we say this politically correct way? Well, so I had other experiences, of, will I say, church, that I wasn't, I just knew that there could be more, right? Mm-hmm. And then coming to Impact, I would come to Impact and like I didn't need to go out and hang out afterward. Like that was my hangout. That was a place where I felt free. That was the Bible study that you were running. I felt free. I could be myself. Pastor Lan would laugh at himself, and the preaching was so practical. Like it was like as I'm even right there in the meeting, I can apply what I'm learning. So for me, I definitely have an analytical side to my brain that just connects with things that are logical, that can be explained, that have that can be proven they can stand the test of time, that can work principles and things like that. So I think for me, it was intelligent gospel, and that was a huge attraction, as well as the freedom. There was just this freedom in the air, no judgment, life is good. And it was like the opposite of what I had been experiencing, where it was like oh, by your works they shall know you, or whatever. And everything was just like, you just can't be yourself. So I wanted other people to be able to experience that, and I thought that the church would create that platform, for many more people to experience that freedom that I felt in Christ, basically.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, and that, some of the steps you took then, a lot, it's like there are still some, what they call ripple effect from it. I was interviewing Miriam yesterday. It was Soji that invited Miriam into City Light, but you were the one that brought Soji then at the beginning. I think of our pastor Emily right now, married to Shegun. It was you that that brought Shegun, to City Light. Just different, ripple effect of that decision, and that's another pointer to the fact that what we are, what we are doing right now, we don't even know what the effect is going to be, right? Because it just keeps on going on and on
the
and
seeds,
on and on.
They germinate. They just keep reproducing.
Yeah. And then you started leading City Praise. Then I remember times when you would lead City Praise, and it would be, I've had Betsy on the on the show, and she was talking about, we're talking about, there was a time that you led the worship. She was the only person in the congregation. We went through all those. Pastor Omo was to preach. My wife and I, we had gone to London for something then. And then, it was three of you. How was the service? It was three. So Betsy was the congregant. Pastor Omo the preacher, you were the worship leader. How did you continue? Because, you never quit. We went through some tough times at the beginning of City Light, the first year and all that, because we wanted to do it right. We didn't want to just, bring people from one church and, we wanted to do it right. We moved to a different place and started working with people, from scratch again, even though we had been pastoring in Chicago and all that. I just wanted to do it right and everything. But it was rough a little bit, at that beginning time. How were you able to stand there and just continue? What was going on in your mind?
I mean, like you said in the beginning, I mean, when we were being sent forth by Dr. K.
Let me do. Oh yeah, I lost it. I wanted to do something for Instagram people. That we're going to be going off. Instagram is going to go up, but it just went up. But we're going to come back on again. They're going to redo it. Instagram has an hour, so they're going to be redoing it. So you got, the Instagram people, you will be able to join us in the conversation as we continue. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. So of course, we were sent forth, like you said, by Dr. K, laid hands on us, and I mean, for me, I didn't take that lightly. I mean, for me, that was a moment. That was a defining moment. That was a commitment. It was like a marriage, basically. I think definitely the grace of God was made available to do the things that were done, and very imperfectly. And I think that was another thing that was great about City Light. The imperfections were welcome, So there was really nothing special that I needed to do to be a part of it. I just needed to show up.
Yeah.
And I was taken with just the way I was. The whole package was fully accepted. So why should I have a problem with that,
Yeah.
So I really don't think there was anything special that kept me coming back. To be honest.
You were just doing it, covenant and
it felt right, Yeah. It sat well with me. I connected to it. I was a round peg in a round hole, So what there was nothing to complain about, really.
Yeah. So by that time you had started feeling something, though it wasn't fully clarified, this musical direction, because I want us to narrow down to that now, because that's what you do. That musical thing, but it was still not, you're still doing your chemical engineering and all that. Then we'll come to Leading Lights, right? We do Leading Light. You're part of cohort 1 of Leading Lights. And I remember I still use your testimonial that you sent to me on one of your birthdays. I've used it in all the 12 nations that we have gone to. Whenever we finish the shape analysis, I'll bring it up. Every cohort of Leading Lights, you understand? Since you sent that thing, it's part of the slide of Leading Light. about how you did the shape analysis thing, and then at that time doing that shape analysis constitution, I still have your submission. I still have what you submitted, the full thing that you submitted then. How you just began to see that, music is my line. And you were then working at Citgo as a chemical engineer and everything. Tell us about that. Leading light for you, and then just going forward from there into stepping into this musical, just what you are doing right now, your callings. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I mean, music, like I said, was already a part of my life from high school. And even when I chose IIT, I chose for several reasons, but I was happy that there was like another school of music affiliated, and I was going to
Sorry
do a
to cut you
minor.
short. We're back on Instagram now, so I want to welcome our Instagram viewers back. We're back there now. So yeah, go ahead.
All right. So basically, excuse me, the question was how I got into the music line and role that Leading Lights played in that decision. So like I said, music was already a part of me. It was part of my thought process, right? And specifically classical music, because that was the kind of academic music that I was into. And like I said, all this while, very cerebral, I love those kind of things. So fast forward to joining City Light. Then I had already started working in refinery, and then I did the Leading Lights course, and then went through the shape analysis. And the things that I discovered were that basically the Leading Lights thing just made me realize that you needed to live your life with a purpose. And then I realized that one of the reasons why I wasn't so sure about the music thing was because I couldn't really quantify or qualify the purpose for it. Versus, and at that point I felt like my life was already God's. My life belonged to God. So I couldn't just go into something flippantly, like just wake up and be like, this is what I'm feeling at the moment. I'm feeling this vibe. I'm just going to do it. I needed to kind of have some instruction. I needed to have some kind of push. I needed to have some kind of sense that I was in the will of God, right? And then, of course, as a young Christian, you complicate all these things, right? And there's fear, and then there's this whole thing of, then there was this whole thing of music. If you're not doing the Lord's music, you're doing the devil's music. There's no in between, Man, it was just a whole lot that maybe other careers were not facing at that moment, as far as Christians wanting to go into these other careers, right? So the Leading Lights thing helped me see my purpose clearer, So I saw that that there was a purpose in the music. Through the music, I could gain some sort of influence, and through that influence, I could then influence others. And I came up with other things, if not just music, but there were other things that came up in there that I don't really want to go into. Let's just focus on the music, right? But there were other things that I saw from like my childhood. Okay, why was I always the one that fought the bullies? Why was I always the one that stood up for this? So those things kind of came up as I did those exercises, right? And then tallied with when my husband was sensing the need to go to Nigeria and kind of take his career to the next level, right? So for me, it was everything. I mean, I was at a defining moment. I needed to, I was getting older. I was getting to an age where for classical music, if you wanted to do it, it was already like clock is ticking. But I couldn't just do it just for doing sake, right? So I thank God for that Leading Lights course that just kind of put everything in the right perspective. Then what happened was I moved to Nigeria. Still, okay, now I have the direction. I have the general instruction. Now trying to figure it out, the specifics. Am I still to do classical music? Am I supposed to mix it with other things? Am I supposed to do gospel? I've been leading worship now for 6 years? It's kind of a part of me. Am I supposed to just leave that alone? So there were so many questions. And I remember going back, I tried in the beginning at least to go back every year for the City Light anniversary. That was like my thing, my personal retreat. And so I remember one of those anniversaries, it was, I think it was immediately the following year after I left. It was called Irresistible Influence, and then it was Ed. I can't believe his name just
Ed Pitcher, Bishop Pitcher. Yeah.
Yes. Said, was it Bishop Pitcher? I'm not sure. It was Doctor.
Oh no, sorry, Ed. It's Adele.
Yeah, church at Community. Adele.
Yeah.
So he's talking, and he says, not every Christian has to sing, and then he sang like a gospel song. And for me, that was like, I never heard anybody, a man of God, ever voice that out. Yes, I've heard it insinuated, but he voiced it out specifically, like in his will I say his talk about church in the community, church in your offices, church in your gatherings and all that. So that was the voice of God as far as I was concerned. And then I talk about when Osen taps me and says that word is for you, because it was a conversation that I had with her, being the assistant worship leader. And so I remember having to talk of, do I do a Darling check, or do I do a CC Winans, or do I do it was all just a big ball of not knowing what to do. So I really thank God for those, I call them pointers, on my path toward destiny. And every day till now, I'm still getting more and more pointers, more and more clarification, still conquering fear. And oh yes, another thing that he said that I still said to someone today was making contact without contamination. Because for me, that was my biggest fear. I was just like, once I become a musician, I'm going to become, whatever it was that
Worldly,
what was happening.
It will draw you away from your faith.
Yes, exactly. And that was because of a lot of the stories of most or many musicians then that were in the pop scene, and that were the hot hit numbers, all said they started from church. And at that moment, like they didn't project that church foundation in any way, really. They
like
didn't
with
really
the
make any effort.
and all that. They all started from church.
Yeah, exactly. And but it wasn't a thing for them, like, oh, me and church, or me and God. Not even church, I would say, me and God. It wasn't a thing. They didn't make it a thing. I don't know if they were it was a branding issue or what it was, but so I was just like, I was afraid. I was like, oh no. That song that says, I'm petrified. Literally, I was. I was just
Don't worry, you didn't need to be afraid. If you had left Jesus Christ, I would have come with a cane, to meet you on the stage. And I will spark you back to Christ.
So now, please don't spoil our brand. It's Little Lights. We don't spark Christ. We lead them in love and freedom. Okay, please.
So you jump into it. Tell us. It's been an entrepreneurial journey. Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, it wasn't a full jump. Still, I was still, sometimes it's a problem to have an analytical over analysis paralysis mind. So I was always like hedging my bets and being cautious and just, so I remember taking an offer to get back into engineering. After I had said, I'm not going back to engineering, I got an offer, and I was like, okay. And I think it was still God, God was still kind of working out the whole process. So I went back again into engineering, did that, and did it very, very, very successfully, by the way. Like, it was way better than my time at Citgo. It was everything. It was a job, my dream job that I was clamoring for when I was at Citgo and I didn't get. I was now doing it and doing it successfully. So it was irrational, illogical for me to now say, I'm going to leave that. And they were paying me, to do something I was enjoying. So it was very logical for me to leave that and say, I'm doing music. But what happened, like I said, again, pointers, right? So there were all these pointers, step by step by step by step by step by step. And so I think the final pointer was when I met a diplomat that was also like a singer, a classically trained singer, but he wasn't performing. And he had heard me once at the Muson in Lagos and said, oh, he would like to, just, he was interested in what I was doing. He thought I was doing quite well for the limited training that I had had at that point. So he gave me a master class. And so for 2 hours, I sang, he coached. And then another 2 hours sat with me and basically talked about the path and what the possibilities were in classical music. For me, that meant a lot to me. And I was just like, okay, I think at this point, it would be left for God to open the heavens and say, my daughter, I want you to do this thing, so I decided that it was time. And of course, talked to my husband. And of course, by this time, I've become a broken record. I've said this thing. I've been saying it probably since the first day he met me, that I'm going to be a musician, I'm going to be on stage, and I'm going to be da, 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 da. So I think at this point, I was just like, okay, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, fine. Okay, fine. And then, but getting into it was then another kettle of fish, because it was very confusing, because I was just like, well, if I want to do classical music, shouldn't I be in Europe or, somewhere else where it's appreciated? But I would be in Europe and I would just feel like God was saying, go back to Nigeria. And I'd be like, why? Pastor would preach in a church, in an Anglican church, and I'll be like, oh snap, I need to go back to Lagos. Yeah. I can't run away, So it wasn't coming together. It was just like, Lord, you're telling me to do this, but I can't do it the way it's typically done, So I think at that point I just said, you know what, I'm just gonna surrender. I'm not gonna try to figure this out. And I literally became somebody like, I don't know how to explain it, but I just stopped panicking and planning, and it kind of, for me, it looked like a negative, because it just felt like my life was just going weird, disorganized, not really making any sense direction. And it was frustrating for people like Pastor Lan, asking me questions, and I'm just like, I don't know. And I'm just like, I don't really know, but I'm just gonna try this next thing. It was really frustrating. But I guess it was just what I needed to do at that particular time. I couldn't have a 5-year plan. I couldn't have all the good things that Leading Lights teaches us to do. I just got to a point where it was just like, I just don't know. So, and then in the middle of that journey, I decided, I felt like it was time, and we had children, and that further added another layer, that it was just like, okay, and how does this all work together? So to be honest, it hasn't been, it will probably be written in a book once I finally make sense of it all. But it's something that's unfolding every day.
Every day.
I say to people, every day is just unfolding. So last year was like the first year where I felt like, I finally figured this thing out. Okay, this is my plan. Okay, so next year I'm going to do this. And when I do this is going to happen, and that's going to happen. And then COVID happens. And I don't want to say we're back to square one, but we're on another drawing board.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's been a journey of faith. It's been a journey of surrender. It's been a journey of just admitting, I don't know.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about that surrender, because that's a very...
getting a lot of questions. I don't know what cares so much about me.
Yeah. So I was saying that the surrender part is a very key thing, because I know your journey, you stepped out and you've been productive. You produced music, like you were recording. Tell us some of the things that you have done. just give us like a quick rundown of music you have produced. You sang in different places, including with the president of Nigeria twice, and so on. Tell us about it. You've actually sang before. I remember, I think over 600,000 people, and millions of people watching from around the world at the experience too. That's just the way it is. Like when we are walking in purpose, that's the journey that I'm in. There's always something else. There's always this to figure out. There's this challenge that comes up. But as we're walking with God, just like in the case of Abraham, as you're just walking with God, that's when the story is being made. The journey of life is not a destination. It's not like the purpose is not a destination. That's what I mean. It's a journey. It's not a destination. You never get to that point where you now say, oh, yeah, now until you get to heaven and you stand before God. Oh, yes, now I finally arrived. No, it's a journey. You get to this spot, another thing will come. Do this and do that and do that. And the journey is challenges that you overcome. But that is what our stories are made up of. That's what the stories of purpose is made up of. And that is what's encouraging people that are watching right now. Tell us some of the things that you have, produced, sang, and all that. Just give us a quick rundown, if you can.
Yeah, so I'll probably go the other way around. So like, for instance, today I'm dressed in black because I just finished doing audition recordings. So I'm actually so I my career is kind of divided into two for now. So there's like my classical part, which is today was my classical day. Mm-hmm. And then there's like this contemporary part that is figuring itself out. So for instance, today I recorded all these videos that I will send to some of my contacts in Europe, agents, and young artist programs in opera houses in maybe the States, Italy, Austria, kind of thing. And then I'll wait for them to critique and say da 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 da. You need to do this next, to do this, to do that. So that's like a whole full-time job on its own, right?
Yeah.
Then I would go out and perform like I did last week. I did something for Nigeria's Independence Day. I went to a TV station in the morning to sing the national anthem. In the afternoon, I did a live comedy show. I sang one of my contemporary songs, There's a Fire. And then in the evening, I went to Freedom Park and I basically sang like Nigerian folk music and got people dancing and things like that. So it's I don't want to call it a big mess, but it's a big like it's a big mix. Yeah, everything is kind of mixed up in there. So before that, then I did stuff at the isolation center here in Lagos. I sang for the
COVID. Those who had contracted COVID, right?
Yeah,
those who had
COVID-19
quarantine them
virus. Yeah, so that was very scary, but it was something I needed to do. And then I got a call. So I'm in the middle of the lockdown in Lagos. At that point, I wasn't sure what was going to happen to my career, or if I was still going to have a career after COVID, or And then I get this call like, oh, we would like you to do something very similar to something that Andrea Bocelli did in Italy. We'd like you to sing over Nigeria and just sing Amazing Grace. So, you get calls like that and you're just like, wow, okay. It seems like I'm still in purpose, just at the point where you're already like,
yeah,
oh, well, at least Pastor Landem cannot say I didn't try my best. And then you get these calls. So I did that. That was nice. Recording Amazing Grace over Nigeria. And then before the lockdown, I would sing at like events, mostly like, a little bit more serious occasions, sometimes parties, but like a 90th birthday, a diplomatic event. Like I did something for the German. I would do things for the German. So like today, I'll probably have been at the German consulate singing for their celebration of the German Day of National Unity.
Okay.
then I would do things with the Musical Society of Nigeria. So like I did, so in May we were supposed to do an opera. Now that's already a full-time job. Like I said, the classical music is already a full-time job because it takes the average classical singer about 3 months to learn a role. Because the music is just so complicated, blah 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 blah. So I'm doing that on one hand, and then on the other hand, I'm writing original songs. I am producing folk songs like Iwekiko, which is a Yoruba Nigerian folk song. Man, I don't know. It's everything. I'm touching. I'm even doing some jazz. So I'm just like I call myself a crossover singer, but I like to root what I do in classical music because I feel like that's where God.
I wanted to show people one of your music quickly, and then we will talk more. Yeah, I wanted to just quickly share one of your music.
Yeah, the 600,000 one. That was which one was that one? That was The Experience.
Oh, that was The Experience. Yeah.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, that one I'm gonna have to look for that. But this is There Is a Fire.
Yes. So I released that one at the end of last year.
Where there is harmony, there is unity.
I released it after I had decided I wasn't going to do contemporary music
in
anymore.
our community.
Beautiful one.
Where there is striving, there is no love. How do we create a better place for our children? Did you know if I share my light will shine brighter and brighter?
Hey, I see mommy in there.
Did you know if we stop the fight,
holding the
we'll
lantern.
soar higher and higher? There is a fire inside of you and me. Together we'll shine bright. Together we'll turn on the light for every one of us. Every one of us. Every one of us. So hold my hand, I'll hold yours too. Here we stand, together we stand, oh, brick by brick, upon this hill.
That's
we'll rebuild
Awesome.
the future's made.
So, what inspires you, to write this song like that one now? What was behind it? What are you trying to accomplish with your songs?
Yeah, so that particular one, I had the idea, and then my friend Clay crystallized it and actually like wrote the song. So what I just felt that there was a sense of hopelessness in the air, and I just felt like we needed fire. We needed momentum. We needed to shine, shine because we're light. We can't just be hopeless. And yeah, I just felt the need to encourage myself, encourage everyone. And the song was originally for Nigeria. So like the words of the song were actually tailored to Nigeria. Nigeria was part of the lyrics and all that. But then I decided that it wasn't only Nigeria that needed to hear this message. I think the rest of the world needed to be encouraged. And yeah, that was pretty much where it came from.
And then, the one you sang before, 600,000 people. Let me quickly show a snippet of that for our audience so that they can also see that one too. I'm one of your media people,
You are.
I was the first person to put your music online, remember?
Yeah.
And you were like, Pastor Land, I said, I am going to record this thing. I am going to put it on. I am going to put this thing online.
Many people will not believe how shy I am about my music.
Yeah.
It's weird.
So here is Ranti singing at The Experience.
He is the leading tenor of this generation, a classical singer with contemporary styling, and this will be his second appearance here at the Experience. She is a performer that has graced many stages across
That
Nigeria.
was one of the toughest nights ever.
A classical and folk singer. Please make welcome.
But you know, you are talking about impact, right? That decision that you made. Look at the number of people that it's touching. These were just people that were present in there, but people were watching from all over the world. This is the most popular gospel thing in Africa. That you were speaking there, and then people were watching from all over the world and all that. That is the impact of walking in your purpose, of obeying God and stepping into what God has called you. So no matter what you go through as you are moving on, these are some of the things that God will give you that you can go and look back to and say, you know what, God is with me. Like David said, when he met Goliath, remember when he met Goliath, it's like, the God that delivered me from the bear, the one that delivered me from the lion will also defeat this Goliath. So that's it. I have things like that. I have pictures like that, videos like that will just remind me you are called to do this thing. These are called signs of approval from God. Just like encouragement along the way as you move on in your journey of purpose. So let's listen to Ranti.
And watch us where we go, and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer as we go our way. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe.
I pray we'll find your love.
By the way this happened, the way this whole thing, me coming to sing here happened, will definitely encourage someone.
How did it happen?
Right? I don't know if you can still hear me.
I can hear you. Yeah.
I had watched the previous years, right? And I had said this would be great, to do this. And so that year, what I did was I started to talk to everybody I knew that had anything to do with the church that organizes it, or that has ever performed.
Yeah.
I started doing this from that summer. So this was in December. Started that conversation since maybe June, July. How can I? Nothing was working.
Wow.
November 5th, I think. November 5th, I went to an art gallery because one of my mentor's daughters was putting on an art exhibition just to honor her event. And I heard a familiar voice. I knew which was the voice of the pastor. And I just froze. I was talking to him, guys, I can't focus on this conversation anymore. Just excuse me for a second. So I kept waiting till he wasn't and I said hello, and he said hello, young lady, and I then instantly gave him my elevator key. I don't think we spoke 2 minutes. I just said, I just came back from Austria, we just on the sport, I met the guy that was singing, and blah blah blah, and I always dreamt of singing at the. No, I didn't say anything about the experience. No. I just told him that you introducing me. And I said, it's such an honor to meet him. And then I stopped. I did say, oh, I would like to sing at your event. And then he says, the next sentence that comes out of his mouth is, you know what? We're just tidying up the loose ends for the concert next month. And then he says, do you know, um, um, and then I said, and I mentioned this guy that's singing with me, I mentioned his name. He said,
Yeah.
I said, and then he says, yes, 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 yes. And he says, will you tell him to reach out to my PA tomorrow? And I was like, sure. Like, because
Wow.
the
Wow.
I'm telling
Powerful,
you.
powerful.
And I never saw him again until after this performance. Yeah.
That's God definitely moving. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful music. You know, I am the one that I'm one of the only people who still has this music. Let me stop it. Who still has it online?
Yeah, because it's been taken down.
It's been taken
Yeah,
down.
it's been
Yeah,
taken
because
down.
yeah, but I downloaded it. I downloaded it the moment I saw it. I downloaded it and I put it on the Leading Lights Facebook page, and it's been there. So because that's a seminal moment. That is, God. You understand? That's God. Working in your life. You took a step of purpose, and look at the doors. I mean, I could show more. You singing in Austria. I mean, all the classical one. I've not even talked about that and everything. God is working with you in this area, and no matter what challenge you go through and all that, don't quit. Just
Yeah.
keep moving on. Let's begin to round up. Let's begin to round up our conversation by you, just telling me, what impact do you really want to make? Like when you look at your life, your purpose as a light, what impact do you want to make with your music and all the other talents and gifts that God has given you?
Yeah, so I mean, it might sound cliche, but I think the scripture that talks about Paul saying, living a life poured out, so I want to be the kind of person that has explored or exploited or poured out every talent that I know of that God has deposited, every gift that I know that God has deposited into me, to serve others. For me, that's like that's my thing. Like I want to, at the end of my life, I want to feel like I did everything. I did everything that God wanted me to do. God deposited in me to bring out into the world. So I feel like I've already accomplished a very small part of that, and there's still a whole lot more that God has deposited and God wants to do. So I think that I want to definitely be that beacon of hope, that beacon of it's that beacon that says it's possible, to live fully, to live your life poured out, to exploit everything, every aspect, every facet of you,
Yeah.
the glory of God, not just for your own. Oh, I'm cool like that. I can do this. I'm gifted. I'm talented, and then you just kind of go into a rap about it. No,
Yeah.
but just really, shining as a light and just really showing off, God's glory. That's for me. Like that's a big thing for me.
Yeah.
And also, I remember during the Leading Lights, I really love to see when others are able to exploit all their gifts and all the resources, all the things that God has put inside of them. I love when I see people living out things. So I love is it polyglots? I love people that are just like, yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That ability and that consciousness
Yeah.
of being able to do everything, living a limitless life. So I
Yeah.
wanted to set that example, so to speak, and doing it with God all the way. Not,
Yeah.
not, I don't want any, of course, things are not always perfect. We're not perfect. Life is not perfect. And I've come to learn that. So I don't put any high, for any expectations that are unrealistic about my walk with God. But just like I said, staying surrendered to God, I can be that example of someone that has lived a life that's poured out and be that
Yeah.
encouragement to others.
And I think that's the key word for your life, surrender. That's the thing. Just surrender to God's will. Surrender to God's will. I'll let you end with that. But let me ask you this question. I have two more questions for you. The first of the two is, you are a mother, a wife, a mother, musician, like you are working in this purpose. That takes a lot. How do you balance both? I know we do in leading life, we do values, where we put all our values, together, and then we prioritize. How are you handling all that now? That can encourage somebody who is also a mother and all that. How do you work in your purpose when when you have responsibilities of life, which are part of our purpose anyways, but how do you, balance all this?
So, I'm not an expert on balancing. I still have a huge learning curve. But what I will say is, I guess I don't take anything. I don't take anything like, oh, it's the end of the world if this thing doesn't happen this particular way or whatever. So I'm very it almost comes across as not being passionate or not being giving it your all, but I see it as, I really do just cast my cares. Like, whatever God cannot fix for me in my marriage, in my children's lives and all that, I try my best to not stress about it. So that sometimes drives some people crazy, because they're like, you're supposed to be freaking out right now, but I'm like, I'm sorry, I don't freak out. I just do what I can do, and then what I can't do, I'm very quick to ask for help. Like, I ask for help all the time. I'm never shy to ask for help, and God has surrounded me with a huge, amazing support system that, I don't know why God loves me so much, but he is surrounded. And I think that all of us have a support system. Sometimes, we're just blind to it. Sometimes the devil tries to make it look like, oh my goodness, this is so big. Oh, nothing can fix this problem. So it's all about just seeking the face of God about what's the wisdom for this situation. And then doing your best, and when it's not perfect, not stressing out about it. That's what I would say.
Very good, thank you. So that leads me to my last question for you. What are some, like, 5 principles or ideas or something that your life is built on that you can share with our audience, that can encourage them from being born into, raised up by a single mom excellently, and then going through all the things you went through? You had to, God protected you from, abuse and all this kind of stuff, to college, your profession, your, finding your husband, you're finding your purpose, doing what you are doing right now. What are some things that you have learned so far on your journey of life that you would like to share with people? If a young person comes to meet you and say, you know what, tell me, what's the secret? What are the secrets of your life? What will you say?
Yeah, so I think I've already kind of mentioned them as we spoke, but I think the summary of my life is just, a surrendered life, just living a yielded, surrendered life, and that comes from the way you see yourself. Just, I see myself as a vessel. I see myself as somebody that God works through. So that takes a lot of pressure off of me as an imperfect human being, So I think I try to maintain a surrendered life. So I remember at points in my life where things just get up to I can't take it anymore. There's something I do physically to reinforce that surrendered mindset. What I do is I lay on the floor, flat on the floor with my face, and I just say, Lord, take over. And literally I wasn't doing it consciously. Like I think it was just the things that were happening were driving me to do that. But there was later I realized that I was doing it, and I realized that every time I did it, everything fixed. The problem always fixed itself. I would just wake up the next day and it would be fixed. And then the other thing
that's casting your cares
was
on
looking.
First Peter 5:6 says, casting all your cares on God. First Peter 5:6 and 7.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then the other thing I would say is looking out for those pointers. So one big thing that happened to me when I was thinking about getting married at a very extremely young age. I would not advise, don't do this at home. But one of the things that really helped one of the things that really helped me was Pastor Deborah gave me the book by Joyce Meyer, How to Hear from God. By the way, Joyce Meyer's books, there was a point in my life where like she had a book for everything I was going through. Like I remember I would read, like I went from How to Hear from God, there was another one, then The Confident Woman, then it was just like, God bless her. So so How to Hear from God, right? The point I'm making is looking for those pointers on your journey that kind of help you know. You mentioned it as well, Pastor Lan, earlier. That kind of, I like the way you said it, and I can't remember how you said it. But the approval, the signs of God's approval, what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's one thing I've always done. I don't know how I started doing it, but I just look for those pointers. And so I give an example of when I was getting married, when I was thinking about getting married very young. Reading How to Hear from God, I started to learn that the principal way that you hear from God is peace, right? So if someone tells me something and I need to make a quick decision, I check the immediate reaction in my, even in my body sometimes, of peace or lack of peace. And immediately I can say, you know what, maybe we should just hold on. Let me get back to you. Or I can say, sure, let's go with it. The peace green light is flashing. So I always look for those points, and I think it's all tied to surrendering to God anyway. Another thing would be what I also said earlier, which was mentors. Oh my goodness, I have a mentor for everything. I probably have a mentor for how to brush your teeth. I probably have a mentor for like everything, everything you can think of. I have a mentor for it. And a financial mentor who I actually called yesterday when I just felt like I was financially imbalanced, like Pastor Lam rudely said earlier.
Well, you were trying to be an accountant, I did that, that's your profession.
And so when my financial mentor says, you're doing good, I was like, okay, whew, all right, whew. That was, I'm not going to listen to other people that are not my financial mentors. So anyway, so that's that. What else? Yeah, asking for help. I can't remember the other things. I tried to write them down, but devices are not working right now. But I think they're really pretty much all tied into just living a surrendered life. I don't know. The other two are not coming to my mind right now, but maybe you'll type it to them.
That's fine. That's fine. So great, 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 great. So thank you so much for sharing your story. It's an interesting story. It's an inspiring story. The journey still continues, and there's going to be greater, greater, greater things, that are still going to be happening. But we need to praise God. Like, is it Samuel that said it? Ebenezer, hitherto the Lord has helped us. Yeah, God has helped us to this point, and the same God that has helped you to this point is going to take it to the next level and bring it to the ultimate completion. That you can say, like Paul said, I have finished my course. I've run the race. I finished everything. I just want to encourage you. You are a blessing. You're a blessing to us, blessing to our family, blessing to the City Light, Leading Lights Network family. You're a blessing to the world. You're a blessing to Nigeria, blessing to us in Chicago. We're proud of you. We're praying for you. We're rooting for you. There's nothing that you do. Once I see it, I'm like, wow, that's Ranti. I'm sharing it, sharing it everywhere,
And Pastor Lion, it's surprising that even at this point, I still hide.
Yeah, you hide. You remember how long it took me to convince you to put your first video on YouTube? I had to literally do it myself, right? I put it on the YouTube channel.
Nobody will believe that I'm shy. Like, even I don't believe I'm shy because I don't talk like I'm shy. But when it's time to like do some things, I'm just like,
yeah. But I'm glad that you are putting out there now, because let your light so shine before men that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. There's this thing that I heard. It was in a CNN commercial that I heard it many, many years ago, but I've not forgotten it. It said, anybody who is doing business and not advertising, or anybody doing anything and not advertising, is like somebody who is winking in the dark and hoping that people can see. Like you're winking in the dark. You know that, but nobody can see you. Oh no, they said it this way. It's like anybody who does business and does not advertise is like someone winking in the dark. He knows what he is doing, but nobody else knows. That I've never forgotten that. So that changed my perspective, because I am also that, I don't want to show, I don't know, this thing I'm doing right now, that's not me. I would just rather be in one corner reading or doing whatever. But that thing, I've never forgotten it. That's when I started putting things on social media, showing what is going on. And I want to encourage people. People misinterpret that thing where Jesus said, when Jesus said, do not do your good. Don't do your good before men. Because then you will have your reward. What he was saying there is that if your motivation is to impress men, like that's your reward. But in the same chapter is where he said, let your light so shine before men that your Father will be glorified. So basically, our motivation should be the glory of God. But please, if you are doing something, that the world needs to know about, put it up, let people know about it, and let God get glory for
Pastor
it.
Lan, do you know I was on CNN Inside Africa, and I basically didn't tell anybody. So if you didn't watch it, you would never know. So I'm really convinced.
If you have sent it to me, I've blasted it to the whole world, So, please let's let our light shine. This thing is about the reason why we are left on the earth is so that we can be salt and we can be light. There's so much darkness, so much gloom, so many terrible songs, online, so much terrible speeches online, terrible shows, all over that people are watching, kids are watching. We need more. We need a deluge of good people that will shine their light and let it spread and not be ashamed and glorify God. So bring these things into the open. Bring it into the open. So I'm glad that you are bringing, the treasures inside of you that God has put there into the open. Keep on doing it. Keep on doing it. You do not know when the another breakthrough will come. That just takes it, beyond what you have ever imagined. That day is coming. If you do not quit, you will not be weary in well doing, for in due season you will reap if you faint not. So,
amen.
Encourage. Wow. All right. Thank you so much, Ranti.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for all you do for me and my family. Thank you.
Oh, praise God. Thank God. Say hello to Mark for me. I want him also on. Pastor Olumide will soon get him. We'll call him. He's gonna he's gonna come on this show. I had somebody on the show. I had someone on the show. Last week it was Betsy. So we're talking about Mark because I met Betsy through Mark, right? So it was like I always thought that Mark was going to be a full-time evangelist. That that's what I thought Mark was going to be.
I was watching when she said that.
Yeah. Yeah. So I will bring him on, and then we're going to have our own conversation and say hello to my babies. Mark and Marie. Tell them I love them. They were alive. We love them. We're proud of them.
They call you Pastor Land.
Yeah, Pastor. I saw they sent me this birthday greeting, and Pastor. Is it Pastor? No, what did they call me?
Pastor Land.
Pastor Land. Yes. Hey, well, I want to own the land. Enjoy the good of the land. Maybe I should change my name to that. Pastor Land, or maybe they were putting my wife.
Yeah, but you know what?
Landy.
Landy. Do you remember you had something like Landy?
Yeah, the plate number of our car then was Landy, yeah. So Pastor Land. So they put my wife's name in front. Yeah. Well, thank you so much, and thank you everybody for joining us. Please let's appreciate Ranti with our comments. Thank you, Instagram. Thank you,
all the
YouTube.
kind comments. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Facebook. Thank you, YouTube. Appreciate you. Keep sharing the video. If it encouraged you, it's going to encourage more people. And we appreciate Ranti for sharing our story. Tomorrow, I'm going to be back with another story. Looking forward to it. I'm actually hosting another thing tonight that I want to invite all of you to come. I'll be hosting the the monthly Spicy Night event that we do at the City That Center. It's a virtual event at 7 o'clock. Today, 7 p.m. I know there's a debate, that starts at 8 Chicago time. So we're trying to do it before the vice presidential debate, So join us for Spicy Night. Watch my page, watch the Light Development Center page. Join us. We're dealing with a topic. We're going to have a panel of single people, a panel of married people. We're going to be talking about I'm married, I'm single. Let's talk about it. We're going to talk about the dynamics of it. And then we're going to have the singles talk to the married in the same panel. And then, we're going to hear some wonderful stuff, including spoken word and music from one of our leading light network artists. So thank you, everybody, for joining us from Chicago, from Lagos. Bye-bye to everybody. Thank you. Thank you very much, everyone. Bye.